32 minutes, 21 seconds. 5-second tone followed by a 1-second pause.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Okay, gang, let's go.
From the space city called Houston, Texas, welcome to Spaceboy Universe, featuring Spaceboy and the lovely Surlana. So strap in and prepare for launch sequence. And remember, it's Spaceboy's Universe, and you're in it.
It is indeed Spaceboy's Universe, and howdy, salutations. It's so wonderful to see y'all all tonight. And we're broadcasting live in the city of Houston. And I want to say to my immediate left is the lovely Surlana. Say hello, Surlana.
Hey.
Yes, that's very exciting for you for a change.
I know.
Yes.
So, it's an exciting night.
It is. It is January 30th, 2016, and you're dealing with show number 019, which tonight's topic is Bitcoin. Ka-ching, ka-ching. It's going to be a lovely evening, everyone, and it's going to be great. So sit there, listen, take your beverage, sip it slowly as we eat a little bit of dinner before we get a little bit of dessert. So how are you this evening, Surlana?
I'm back on my meds.
Yay! That's exciting for everyone.
Seriously, I went to the doctor, got refilled, and things should be different.
Yes, great. What else is on your mind?
Oh, already?
Yeah, just already. I mean,
usually you warn me when there's banter coming.
Well, no, I think we should just seamlessly go into it instead
Let's get
of
to
saying,
the spooky stuff
instead
first.
of signpost that says, "Hey, it's banter time," you know.
Yeah, I just read something I didn't know about. It was just and if this happens, I'm going to be the first one to get taken down.
Okay.
There's a new virus. And it's coming through mosquitoes. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's called... It's Zika, Zika virus?
The Zika virus? I believe that's how you say it.
And it says we could fight it if we take preventative measures now. But they said the mosquito that has it really likes Hawaii, Florida, and Texas.
Well, you know, Texas, it's always got a big target.
So I am screwed 100 times over.
You know, back in the 70s, it was killer bees, and now it's a virus of some
kind. Well, they
kind.
made it. They made it here.
I mean, well...
They did make it all the way.
I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, there's not much you can do. You know, we've survived this long, you know.
Then I won't make it through the rest of the year.
Oh, I think you'll be okay.
You better find you another co-host.
Oh,
get one lined up.
Look, you know, you're going to outlive me. You've already said that. You know, what we were talking about the other day, that I could be in my grave and you'll still come up to my grave asking me questions, and
you'll be lonely if I don't come ask you questions.
You know, for once it'll be like, see, I guess you're finally getting some sleep.
Oh man. So you told me about this video about the shark eating another shark, and it was in an aquarium of all places.
It was, you know, I guess apparently the shark said to itself, I guess if sharks could say to itself, "Look, you're in my area," and for that,
yeah, it was a female shark, and she was bigger than the other male shark, and she was older too. So she just had enough of his crap and
the shark
ate him.
Was fairly large too, that it was trying to eat. I mean,
well, she was bigger.
It was like, dang.
She was bigger.
The shark that ate the shark, or the shark that was being eaten was bigger.
The shark that ate the other shark, she was bigger than the male.
I could see that it was bigger. So, what is this? Is there an underlying current that we need to work here? The
article said she'd had enough of his nonsense and ate him.
So. if this is one of those, if the moon was made of cheese, would you eat it?
Why wouldn't you? Screw the tides.
Oh my goodness! But yeah, that was a pretty impressive video that I did see myself, and it's out there on the interweb. And go ahead and check it out. I mean, I was like, what? I was really blown away.
Yeah, that's you don't really hear a lot of cannibalism in sharks.
Well, I mean, I've seen some things where sharks have eaten sharks, and being in an aggressive nature. But in that situation, I've never. You think in an aquarium they're kind of like dumbed down and docile, and because they're
getting fed and all that good stuff.
All that good stuff. Did you also see that video about the microchipping? A company, I guess
didn't click
Sweden?
the link, but I heard about it.
That is crazy. Put all aside the mark of the beast kind of theories.
Well, that is
like,
how it's going to get done.
But just the idea of going to work for a company and then embedding something into my skin, disfiguring a part of my body so that they can inject this rice-size capsule thing, and it was the video itself. It was like it might as well have been one of them 1950s videos where here's Timmy and he's going to school today, and look at Timmy. Better not cross that road. You might get hit by a car. I mean, it was like one of those happy kind of things, like, hey, this is going to be good for everyone.
You should record some of those.
You can go up to a copy machine and make copies by holding your hand there, and it'll take your code. Or, hey, you need a cup of coffee? Hold your hand out. I mean, I think that's ridiculous, on one, the mutilation, and two, I don't want anything being planted in my body as a security caution or whatever to gain access or to pay for things. I mean, I think that's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Why would you do that when you're going to have Bitcoin?
Well, true, and that's going to be a good discussion tonight about the
I've
Bitcoin.
learned so much.
Yeah, I've learned a few things here and there. Well, hey, what one of my favorite cars are, right?
DeLoreans?
Yes, DeLoreans. We've given a few of those away as gifts.
Little Hot Wheels DeLoreans.
DeLoreans
Yeah, we gave a bunch of DeLoreans as gifts because, we're high rollers.
So the company that's based out of Humble, Texas, just north of us.
Humble.
Humble?
Not humble.
Humble?
You don't say the H.
Well, Humble. I've lived here a majority of my life, and I can't even say it. Anyway, Humble is there's a DeLorean company out there that I guess they're going to start manufacturing these things. Now, okay, I hope everyone's sitting down. If you decide that you want to get one, the kicker in the pants is they're going to be anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000 to buy one.
Yeah, that's significantly more than $40,000.
So I guess I'll just wait until the Yugo
makes a comeback.
He makes a comeback, and maybe I can afford one of those. But sad news about if you've got some cheddar, you could probably get one. But then again, I'd hate to get one and somebody steal it.
It's still a cool looking car to this day. It hasn't aged as far as like, oh, that's an '80s car. It still looks futuristic to me.
Futuristic, classic. That steel is cool. Although I've seen a couple people paint them, and I'm like,
no,
why would you want to paint a DeLorean? It's beyond me. And although some of the Hot Wheel cars I have, there was
you do have a gold one.
I have a couple gold ones. I think I had a black one too at one point.
The only thing you should be doing a DeLorean is making it into a time machine.
Yes, exactly. So.
Oh, before we forget, happy birthday, K28.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
And it's legal for him to sing that.
Happy birthday, good old K28 from California. Happy birthday to you. And many more. Happy birthday, K28. He's, 23 now?
I have no idea.
Go with it. I'm sure he'll love that. So, yeah, happy birthday, K28. Make sure everybody out there, Space Cadets, go ahead and tell him happy birthday.
And we checked. That is legal for him to sing because there is no longer a copyright on it.
Yeah, I love it when the copyright goes out. And that's exciting. Going on, transitioning from there, next month, Better Call Saul is back.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I know you're looking forward to
that. Ended on a what type of note, so...
Yeah, so between that and Walking Dead, that's looking forward to that. I know you just...
Don't care about that.
Which is funny because you had a dream recently
I
about
did have a zombie dream, and it was really intense, and it took it seemed like it took hours to get through it, and it was bizarre, and it went down a strange path, and I don't know why I dreamed about it. I don't care about zombies. I wasn't watching anything about zombies. I wasn't reading about zombies. I didn't see a video about it's just like my brain said, hey, you're going to dream about zombies. That's what's on tonight's menu.
Well, that's quite the interesting. Yeah, because you're not much of a zombie person.
They're boring. They're predictable. It's like you've seen one or two zombie films. You're like, okay.
Yeah, but The Walking Dead's different. You know, it's exciting. It's drama. It's putting man against man.
Well, I'm
man
glad
versus
you've got
zombie.
something to do. That's nice.
Well, you know. Speaking of something to do, I finally got to see Star Wars today.
Yeah, you did.
Yes. So basically, I gave it an A-. And the only reason I gave it an A- was because, I guess at the beginning, it just didn't quite feel like Star Wars. But then later in, it'd get in. And there were parts in it, it definitely had that feel. I think the one scene when, I guess they're trying to escape from...
Spoilers.
There's no spoilers here. There's an escape scene where they're, I guess, trying to escape in a TIE fighter, right? And that scene was very reminiscent of Star Trek.
It was a J.J. Abrams.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's why.
And so it had his stank on it. And so, not that I don't mind J.J. Abrams. I like him as a director, and he's produced some great movies. I mean, he did a wonderful job with Star Wars, and I'm not knocking him for that. It just, but overall, at the end of the day, I can say I did enjoy it. There was a couple moments where I almost teared up.
Oh.
Yeah, because, it was exciting.
I know. Yeah.
When Princess Leia, well, actually, she's General Leia. Once again, I'm not spoiling anything. It's not like I'm telling anybody that Jar Jar Binks was in this movie. I mean, God forbid I tell them that he's actually the evil lord on this movie. So at the end of the day, A-, definitely.
What was funny about that is you went to see The Force Awakens by yourself, and you called me, and I was at work, and
yeah, I know she's having a brain.
You called me about it, and I was walking from one building to another, and I said, well, that's good, dear. I am so over Star Wars. And as I was walking, some guy passed me going the other way, and I said, I'm so over Star Wars. And this guy passed me. He goes, me too.
But anyway, yeah, Star Wars, like I said, I'll probably buy it when it comes out on video. And
that way I'll get to watch it.
You'll get to watch it. And, normally you care for movies, and so I just took advantage of it.
The book is always better.
So, as I finish up this leg of the journey, I guess we should talk to our audience about something.
Yeah, you've been teasing them, and to the point of people are almost irritated with you.
First of all,
not
Gordon,
me.
this is for you. Anyway, I had to get that evil laugh out to Gordon. He knows what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. So, you got your end ready while I do my end?
I just hit save.
Okay, so
on my end.
This is an official Spaceboy Universe release. The Spaceboy Universe is expanding. Beginning February 6th, we will also be broadcasting on KFNX 1100 Independent Talk Radio in Phoenix, Arizona. We are excited about this opportunity, and we look forward to being a part of the KNFX family. Just wanted to let you know, you'll still be able to find our live stream on spaceboyuniverse.com at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time and archived on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn, and Stitcher. Welcome to the universe, Phoenix. We're looking forward to being a part of the Spaceboy Universe / KFNX family.
We'll send a shout out next Saturday.
Yes, next Saturday. So it all starts next Saturday at our usual time. So if you're in the wonderful state of Arizona and you're within the broadcast area of KNFX, let them know that you love Spaceboy and the Spaceboy Universe.
They're on KFNX is on Twitter. If you want to give them a shout out to say what a great business move they've made.
Indeed. So so the universe is expanding, and we're quite excited here. And it's just another stepping stone in the evolution of Spaceboy Universe. When we started, we had high hopes, and this is all part of the big thing. And so we hope that you will continue to be our Space Cadets and continue to listen to us. In the weeks to come, we've already mapped out quite a few interesting shows.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we have 13 weeks mapped out.
Yeah, we've got topics. I think maybe there's one day we don't have, but we've got things ready.
Mm-hmm. And so the official start of all this begins next Saturday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. So,
What does that mean, Spaceboy is Planet X? What does that mean?
Okay, 28, you make me smile. So, with that said, should we take our first break before we get started here, Surlana?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
All right, let's do the mega break. I know you like that one, don't you?
Sure.
All right. Well, I'm definitely from another planet, and you're listening to Spaceboy on Spaceboy Universe.
You're listening to Spaceboy Universe, the #1 broadcast for robots.
The epic battle begins this Friday. Direct from ringside at Laser Death Melt Pit. Bot versus Bot in Galaxy's 2-ton weight championship, where your challenger, Good Bot, will face the reigning champion, Bad Bot. You're terminated. Reserve seating starting at $30. 2-drink minimum, where ladies don't get in free. This is an SBU production. You're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, Surlana!
What?
If Spaceboy Universe was cheese, would you eat it? Come on now, it's a simple question.
Maybe?
SpaceboyUniverse.com. Hey, Space Cadets! Want to show your love for the universe? Get your official SBU t-shirt now. Just click the banner on the homepage. Other products are available too. Get yours today.
Hello, Space Cadets. This is Surlana, and I realize you are busy and can't always be there for our live show. Fortunately, our shows are available on demand on Spreaker, YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and TuneIn. Just search for Spaceboy Universe.
Do you have a great product or an idea? Then Spaceboy Universe is looking for you. We invite you to contact us at contact@spaceboyuniverse.com. Be a part of the universe. Be a part of Spaceboy Universe. Techno, dance, atmospheric moods? Yes, my friends. My latest release, Digital, has something for everyone. Even makes a great gift for Grandma. Buy your digital download at spaceboymusic.com.
To call in, dial area code 713-701-5214. You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
Yes, we're back. So I guess that went over well. What did you think, Surlana?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, this next Saturday will be our first official show on their channel, and when you get a chance, they're on Twitter. Go ahead and follow them and tell them you heard it here from Spaceboy Universe. That Spaceboy Universe is coming to Phoenix, Arizona, and we're, like I said, we're just pickled to death.
We're pickled tank, yes.
Yeah, we're pickled tank. I'm sorry, my tongue is tied up at the moment.
It's all about pickles and peanuts.
Peanuts and circus pants. But that's a different story altogether. So, Surlana, I guess tonight's wonderful topic is Bitcoin.
Yes.
So
heck of a topic.
I know it is a heck of a topic. Let's see here while I'm...
And I did try to find a Bitcoin expert, but nobody would talk to us.
Yeah,
And we have them here in Houston, and there is a coin initiative place here in Houston. So we've got locals here. It's just it couldn't get their attention or whatever, so they missed out. So I tried to get you someone so you didn't have to listen to me all night. So.
Oh, well, everybody loves you. Why wouldn't they want to listen to you?
I don't know.
I mean, you give most researchers scary dreams because you're just so...
I sincerely doubt that.
You're so awesome when it comes to this research thing.
That's only because I was an English major.
Well, see, that's where it's a win-win for everybody. So anyway, before we get started, I just want to ask the question, what is Bitcoin? Can I address that before you get in, or do you already got to?
I've got everything, but
right.
if you just want to have a part of this broadcast, go ahead.
I appreciate it. You know, Bitcoin is a consensus network that enables a new payment system and a complete digital money. It is the first decentralized peer-to-peer payment network that is powered by its users with no central authority or middleman. From a user perspective, Bitcoin is pretty much like cash for the internet. Bitcoin can also be seen as the most prominent triple-entry bookkeeping system in existence. So would you say that's pretty accurate?
I have more than that.
Well, tell me a little bit more.
Okay. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. Mm-hmm. Well, what is a cryptocurrency? Well, this is from CryptoCoinNews.com. This is their definition. A cryptocurrency is a medium of exchange like normal currency, such as the U.S. dollar, but it is designed for the purpose of exchanging digital information through a process made possible by certain principles of cryptography. And so you say, okay, well, what's cryptography? Well, cryptography is just a method of storing and transmitting data in a particular form so that only those for whom it is intended can read and process it. Cryptography is used to secure the transactions and to control the creation of new coins. The first cryptocurrency to be created was Bitcoin back in 2009, and that's sort of the brand name, if you will, that we all know the most. So today there are hundreds of other cryptocurrencies referred to as altcoins. And so to put this another way, cryptocurrency is electricity converted into lines of code with monetary value. In its simplest form, cryptocurrency is digital currency. And as you said, it can prevent counterfeiting and double spending. It is fully decentralized. For instance, the U.S. government's Federal Reserve System controls our money, and that's printed or minted, and that's fiat money. Mm-hmm. A decentralized currency like Bitcoin has no government control. There is a cap on cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, meaning the production of this currency will decrease over time. And unlike our current system where they can always just print or mint more money, meaning we'll go through inflation, there's going to be a maximum of Bitcoins that will ever be mined, and that's going to be 21 billion Bitcoins. We haven't reached it yet, but that's going to be the limit.
So as far as Bitcoins, when you buy a Bitcoin, it is what it is compared to our money standard today, which is not backed by anything.
No, well, neither is Bitcoin. It's just a group of people decided it had value. It's just like our current one. It's just like we decided it. But like you said, it's decentralized, peer-to-peer payment over a network. There's no middleman. It's cash for the internet. It's an application or program that acts like your wallet, and you send digital payments and receive Bitcoins here. So you get to pick whatever software you want to use as your digital wallet. So nobody can control your Bitcoin. So you're free to choose whatever software you want to use. Now, there'll never be a limitation to transactions with Bitcoin. You can take one Bitcoin and break it down into smaller denominations of bits. So is it 1 million bits in a Bitcoin?
I believe that's what they
so it
said,
can be divided up into 8 decimal places.
Yes.
So potentially the smaller units, if they're required, they can do that. So potentially even smaller units that is ever required in the future as the average transaction size decreases. Now I looked up this morning. If you want to purchase one Bitcoin, $377.
Actually, I just did a quick look, and it's up to 380 right now.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
See, it's very volatile. It can change in 10 minutes. The value. It can one day you can wake up a millionaire, and the next day it's completely devalued or nearly devalued.
What I found interesting is when this Bitcoin first started off, they were going for about 5 cents a piece, for 5 cents for a Bitcoin. And, I don't want to jump ahead of the cart here, but it's definitely had its ups and downs to get to where it's at now. I mean, it's been much higher than it is currently, the 380. We've seen it as high as over 1,000.
Well, how does one get Bitcoins? Well, you just simply purchase them online at a bit exchange if you've got the money right now, or you get them from someone you know that has them in a payment or through competitive mining of Bitcoins.
Well, before you get over that, I'd like to know who created Bitcoin?
Well, that is somewhat shrouded in mystery. They're saying the legend begins in 2007, and I say legend because this is all speculation. They say that a Japanese man named Satoshi Nakamoto began working on Bitcoin, but the prevailing belief is that this is a pseudonym for a group of people. So in August 15, 2008, 3 people filed an application for an encryption patent, and all 3 of these people denied to have any association with Nakamoto. And a few days later, in 2008, Bitcoin.org is registered.
Well, I found interesting in some of that research with him that they eventually, I think it was at Newsweek, they ended up searching out and found supposedly him, and they interviewed this guy. And
I don't think it's really him.
And I don't think it is him because it went on further from there that basically the, I guess, Mr. Nakamoto, thank you, had posted on a forum that he hadn't posted in a long time, and then he said, "That's not me." So I find it's interesting that this mystery of this guy or whatever, and nobody knows, but it points back to this person.
See, that's kind of interesting. It might be that they don't want to come out and take responsibility because they might be afraid some governments are going to come after them, but So, Bitcoins are created or generated by a competitive and decentralized process called mining. Now, I'll get into this more in a minute. So, if you're a miner, you process Bitcoin transactions for the network using special hardware, and you get a certain amount of Bitcoins in return for doing this. So, again, what makes this, I guess, attractive is for instance, is easy payments. Bitcoin payments are easier to do than debit or credit card purchases because you just enter your payment amount and the recipient's info, and then you're done. And if your recipient has a QR code for an address, that's even easier. So what's important to note is Bitcoin transactions are not subject to territorial borders. Holidays like a bank holiday, if you've got to make a deposit, you don't have to worry that the bank's closed. There's no middleman. There's no middle managers. As of right now, you control the fees that you want to spend on it. So paying a higher fee on your transactions will get your transaction done faster because that means, I guess, the miner's going to get a bigger cut for processing your transaction. There are fewer risks for the merchant accepting your Bitcoin payment because the payments are so secure. They're irreversible, and they do not contain your personal info. So merchants can't force unwanted fees to your transactions. It's also a great way to prevent identity theft because your personal info isn't attached to your payment.
Well, I think that's quite interesting. Why don't we take a break? But when we come back, I'd like to know a little bit more how Bitcoin works in the sense of, how do they keep track of all that? Sounds like a complex thing, but
I got that too.
Good. So, but when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more Bitcoin. It's Surlana and Spaceboy, and we'll be back. You're listening to SpaceboyUniverse.com.
You're listening to Spaceboy Universe, the #1 broadcast on Omicron Persei 8.
Techno, dance, atmospheric moods? Yes, my friends. My latest release, Digital, has something for everyone. Even makes a great gift for Grandma. Buy your digital download at spaceboymusic.com.
To call in, dial area code 713-701-5214. You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
And we're back. And Luciferius, you're getting ahead of the cart. We're about to talk about that. And I was about to ask Surlana, how does the Bitcoin work? I mean, I'm kind of curious to know about this thing called blockchain.
Well, I'm going to get to that.
Okay, I'm just so excited about Bitcoin and the technical aspect is what I like
I try to figure out how to make somewhat dry subject interesting, but I don't know how to. Okay, so how does it all actually work? First, you need to install a Bitcoin wallet on your computer or your phone, and that's where they say you pick your own software.
Yeah.
So this will create your Bitcoin address. So when you make a transaction with a Bitcoin, it transfers value between your wallet and wherever you're sending the payment. Bitcoin wallets have a private key. Now, this is the important thing. It's a private key that's used to sign your transactions, which is a mathematical proof that they came legitimately from you and your wallet. You're the legitimate owner. Mm-hmm. So now the transaction goes and gets mined or confirmed by the network. So now you're talking about what is blockchain. Well, this is the reason you may have to wait a little bit on your transaction or not. So, okay, blockchain. It's the technology that supports Bitcoin. So blockchain is a record or a ledger of the digital events. This record is distributed or shared between different parties on a network. So once you have a transaction, it creates a record, and the record is entered. And once it's entered, it can never be erased. It's a verified record of every single Bitcoin transaction ever made, and it's constantly growing in a linear chronological fashion. So a block of this blockchain is the current part, which records some or all of the recent transactions, and once the block is made, it gets hooked onto the chain of previous blocks in a permanent database. So a block is about 100 lines, I guess, of code maybe, and has a timestamp and a reference of the previous block and a difficulty statement. So in this way, it prevents double spending. These network nodes will collate Bitcoin transactions, and these are Bitcoin miners. Mm-hmm. So they add your transactions to the global ledger book, which is a blockchain. So the ledger goes back to the beginning of time of Blockcoin. So every time a Bitcoin miner makes a successful block, they get rewarded with Bitcoins. So you've got people out there on the network who are expending their time and their utility bill and energy to verify Bitcoins. So in the future, miners might have to rely on transaction fees to get rewarded for their efforts, maybe once all 21 million Bitcoins are out there. Mm-hmm. Now, the downsides right now of maybe Bitcoin is it's not widely accepted yet. It's not out there in the mainstream.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you that. Bitcoin, is it really used by people? I mean,
I would say it's not in the public conscience the way a dollar bill is right now. Mm-hmm. But because it's still a startup currency, so it's the first ever on the market, and it is volatile from what we've seen and what I've researched. And until more businesses accept it and more coins get into circulation, that's going to be a little bit of a problem. And it's still in beta mode, so some of the features are incomplete. And they did have early on a big security breach, but since then, they've really gone in and done a lot of updating and refining to it. So they're saying the security is not as bad as it is an issue.
So yeah, Luciferius is saying most miners form into mining groups mm-hmm. and kind of share the reward. So mm-hmm. I guess they group together and reap the benefits of mining together.
So my question was, okay, so why do people go to Bitcoin or even bother to use it? It's like, well, it's probably due to the fact that no country or government owns it. It's a fully open source kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a transparent system, and it can be verified in real time by anyone, which is the miners or whoever needs to check into it. No one person or organization can control Bitcoin. Its network is secure, even if the people behind it are maybe not, on the up and up.
Mm-hmm.
And people are more willing to trust this new currency than the government fiat money because you've seen the state of our economy, yes?
So basically, you're saying that the advantages of Bitcoin is payment freedom.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be able to choose your own fees. There's fewer risk for merchants.
Now,
security
that's
and
true.
control, and then transparent and being neutral.
Now, maybe our friend in the chat, Luciferius, can tell us if this is true. Now, what I read is that Bitcoin is not as anonymous as cash. It can't offer you the same protection as just cash.
I think I remember seeing something about it doesn't make you anonymous, but it allows you to be anonymous.
Yeah. Now, if you lose your Bitcoins, these coins just stay inactive forever because no one has the private key to use them to be spent. So if they're lost, that means they're not in circulation. So that means the rest of the Bitcoins now are in higher demand because yours can't be used. And so it is a risky business, Bitcoin. It's still an emerging concept.
Right.
So don't expect to get rich off of it necessarily trying to mine or...
And some of those disadvantages, I believe I wrote down, was the degree of acceptance, the volatility... Give me a hand here. The
volatility.
Thank you.
Maybe
tongue-tied. I need
volatile
some water.
Nature.
And the ongoing development of the process still.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, those are some of the disadvantages. So with those disadvantages, why do people even trust Bitcoin?
Right. Well, why do we even trust money? Because our money's not backed by anything.
Touché. Because we went off the gold standard back in the 70s.
I think that was a mistake.
Richard Nixon took us off of that. So,
and I'm going to go investigate some of that stuff because it happened before my time.
You go, girl.
Bitcoin is legal here in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it could be subject to bans or restrictions in places like Argentina, Russia, or China. So it's a risky business. It's an emerging concept, However, I found this was interesting. There is a physical coin out there. It's cassatious. So because Bitcoin is digital, but you can get a plastic card like a gift card, and you can have your Bitcoin amount on the card. But there is a physical coin called the cassatious coin, and it's a solid brass. It's solid brass with a real Bitcoin code bedded inside, so that the key is inside this. It's gold plate, or it could be gold plated with fine silver. So if you're the kind of person that needs to have a physical piece of money in your hand, it's not valuable, but it's the key that's embedded in there that's valuable. So
well, I was talking to you earlier. I thought this was kind of similar to a company, and I think I'm not plugging or anything, but Goldline offers a credit card like size. It has a piece of gold in it, that it's, in case of an emergency, a break card and then, or give card because it's gold basically. So I can only imagine that people would be out there that could take these coins and have, put it in their wallet and whatever. I mean, literally put it in a real wallet and have something as an emergency cash kind of situation. Where if something went down with the dollar, something similar to like what in Greece happened, they would have access to an alternative source of cash.
They were going to take money from people's bank accounts to try to get themselves out of the mess that they were in at Cyprus. And they're thinking it could be something like Bitcoin could help economies where their currency is tanked.
Another good idea here, and this is coming from the space cadets here, is that you would want to buy a USB stick wallet. The wallets, the USBs that are thin like a wallet, thin like a credit card, and then put your keychain and all that good stuff onto that and be able to carry that. So if you wanted to access that way, just have some kind of physical media that isn't on a computer or, something like that.
Well, since that big breach they fixed, they said the track record for Bitcoin is pretty strong. Their biggest vulnerability vulnerability.
It's catchy.
Yeah, to Bitcoin right now is user error, because private keys can be lost or stolen, deleted, just like your password. And so it was hacked in the past, but all those flaws were identified and fixed. So, yes, Bitcoin did get a reputation because it is used heavily. I think it's really the only currency for the dark web. And it's been used for illegal activity, and you can buy drugs and guns and hitman. And yeah, maybe you could fund a terrorist organization, but you know what else can do that too? Cash.
True.
Cash does the same thing.
I think you read when you were doing your research into the dark web. I guess you came across a lot of the Bitcoin aspect and what you could do and what you could buy and all that stuff.
And you'll say, somebody's like, oh, it costs this many Bitcoins to watch this video. And if you go look at the exchange rate, you're like, dad gum, that's a lot of money, depending on what the rate is.
Right.
So,
I mean, we talk about some of the, I'm just going to jump back here for a second. Everybody loves to make money. And can you explain a little bit about how people make money with Bitcoin?
Well, the mining is one way to do it.
Because I while I was doing some of the research I was looking at, you had these users that would go out and buy these machines that were specifically designed for the mining process.
Yeah, you can buy them on Amazon.
And any of your research, I know that these machines soak up a lot of power. And
that's mining.
Yeah,
that's the mining.
Yeah.
It's just if you want to bother with it, if you want to pay that energy bill, I don't know what it is about. Maybe Luciferus can tell us what is about the process of mining that eats up your utilities so much, takes down so much energy. I don't understand what the process is that takes so much.
I imagine it's processing all that information. I mean. I imagine it takes...
Well, that documentary you watched, you said they had 2,000 orders sitting and waiting to be processed, Bitcoin transactions. And there was only 2 people trying to do it.
Right. And a CFO standing around doing nothing.
Of course. I know that it cannot be regulated, Bitcoin. Oh, yeah, that'd be great if you wanted to call in. That could be our Bitcoin expert right there.
In fact, at this time, why don't we have... Luciferius, call in 713-701-5214.
Forgot our number for a second.
Yeah. So, Luciferius, if you want to give us a call, get in on this action. We will patch you in through the system and bring you up. You're better than anyone. That
there's it lets people decide on their own terms, their own transaction. That's what I like about it, is that it's there's nothing to dispute about your transactions. It's as opposed to cash and other payment methods. Bitcoin always has a public proof of a transaction took place, which can be good for businesses to guard against fraudulent practices. So, and like I said, Bitcoin has valuable due to its usefulness. It's got all the characteristics of other legit currencies, and it's subject to durability, portability, scarcity, divisibility, recognizability, but it doesn't rely on any physical properties or trust in a central government. That's what really intrigues me about it being so different. And the price of Bitcoin is on supply and demand. So I guess they're on high demand right now, so that's why they're almost $400 for one Bitcoin.
Right.
So when the demand increases, the purchase of the Bitcoin goes up. It's still a relatively small market right now, but it doesn't take significant amounts of money to move the market price up or down. So it's very volatile. So that's why it could be worthless. What's our Skype name?
Spaceboy Music.
Spaceboy Music?
Yes.
That's how it started. You didn't change it?
Well, I can't change it.
Oh.
But the other number it forwards to is Spaceboy Universe.
Well, I did not know that.
Yeah, so that's why I just tell people, call 713-701-5214. That is our Skype phone number, and that will come directly to us. And as we're playing along with the musical chair game of that. Let's see here. 713-701-5214.
Now, what I thought was interesting is how banks see Bitcoin.
Okay, do tell.
Well, they started out... Okay, you got him?
Well, I have... Well, this will be... Oh, well, I've never seen his name, so...
Okay, well, don't say it, because he may not want you to say it.
Is this Luciferius?
Yeah, it's me.
All right, hey. All right, so... I guess go ahead and chime in. You apparently been whipping it up in the chat session, so give us your 411 and let us hear it from you.
I was sick of typing it.
Good.
What was the question? It was a long story. Oh, mining. Why it's so expensive? Because it's very processor intensive, so it runs your computer at 100% CPU the whole time you're mining.
Wow.
Okay? Mm-hmm. So now... if you have like an old crappy computer you want to use for this, it's fine, but you're not going to find many Bitcoins. You're not going to process as many transactions. And it's, do you guys remember when SETI was doing the stuff with Boing Boing?
Oh, yeah.
I think
okay. Similar concept with blockchain. You get a chunk of it, you look for transactions through it, and that looking through it entails decoding or decrypting the transactions that are all encrypted within that block of the blockchain that you've been given. Okay?
Right.
So the faster your CPU can run, the quicker you can decrypt this blockchain data, and the quicker you can find the transactions and get the ding and get the free Bitcoin. Okay? So what people used to do was they'd rent an apartment or a storage unit and put 50, 60 computers in their racks of computers to just mine Bitcoins, and they'd make $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a day doing this.
Wow.
Yeah. Then they came up with what's called ASIC processing. Well, someone, I don't remember exactly when it was exactly, but someone figured out that they could use the GPU, the graphic processing unit on the graphics cards of their computers to do the processing of the decryption instead of the CPU on the computer, which is less suited for it, and that grew into this whole big GPU mining operation, which was exponentially above regular CPU stuff. Then came out the ASIC processing, and an ASIC chip, I don't really remember what it stands for, but it's basically the chip that's on everyone's debit card right now. That chip with the 6 lines looks like a spider.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Think Hattie Bob there too, by the way. The spider. I'm sorry. That ASIC chip's also on like the DirecTV card chips, DirecTV cards rather.
Yes.
Yeah, same kind of chip. Those are super decrypting chips, and someone figured out a way to make computers out of those that will use that chip to do the decryption for Bitcoin mining. So those are the like top of the line right now, and you can get them for under $500.
So I've seen hardware for mining, I want to say, like available on Amazon.
Right, that's what I was just talking about.
Yeah.
You can get them for cheap. But like I said in the chat room, there's a finite number of Bitcoins.
21 million, I think, or billion, yeah.
2.148 billion, right?
Sure. That's what I saw. That's what I read.
It's the maximum of a 32-bit integer.
Right.
64-bit, 32-bit integer. But assigned 32-bit integer.
So do you think the process of mining and creating the blockchain is something that banks, that's what I'm looking at, my research says that banks are really intrigued by that process and maybe want to adopt it because they could cut out a lot of extraneous services like, IT support and fraudulent checking on, transactions and double spending. But I just keep thinking that that'd be great for them, but they're not going to pass the savings on to us.
The problem with it, well, that would be great if they did it, and you're right, they would never pass it on to us, because we get taxed somewhere above them, and that would get passed on to us. But the problem with it is that the blockchain is anonymous, the transactions are anonymous, and they're all recorded. So every transaction that's recorded would be in the blockchain. I don't know if people would want to conduct business with banks whose transactions are in the public.
It definitely puts a spin there. If having that book is open for everyone to look at versus a bank's books. I mean, I guess it depends on which way you go. I mean, we live in a society now where people value their privacy, and so where would that end up being? You know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely, and that's kind of where I see the disconnect between banking today and Bitcoin. Bitcoin is, to me, it's like the hippie culture hacker currency. It's like, hey, screw you, we're going to make our own dollars, but it's digital. It's digital.
Do you think? This is a quote I read, that banks are facing their own Napster with Bitcoin.
Yes, and there's nothing they can do about it.
That's what I like.
Yeah, I know, me too. I don't know what the future of it is. You've seen, I don't know if you talked about Mt. Gox, MTGOX.
Mm-mm.
It was a Japanese Bitcoin exchange that went down last year.
Yeah.
They got hacked, I think, but then it turned out the owner was embezzling. I forget the story, but that was...
I believe that was the Frenchman that was over that company, correct? And he was from France, but he was working in Japan. Yes, no?
He was a conehead. I am from France. No, I don't know.
Just got it.
Here I thought that Gordon Roop was the comedian.
Oh, no, I'm a smart ass.
I'd like to put him and Gordon Roop on the air together at the same time. That would be really interesting.
I don't remember where that dude was from, but I remember he went down. He went to jail.
Yeah.
And then Gox went down, and I think they lost. I was going to say like $4 billion in Bitcoin. It was a lot of money.
Yeah, it sounds about $4 billion, and of course he was kicked out of his position for obvious reasons, and gave the press. Right. I remember seeing a clip from the press conference, and it was quite interesting.
And then the whole exchange collapsed. So
yeah,
if you want to look at it from a subterfuge side, you could say, well, somebody might have done that on purpose to discredit Bitcoin in the future. Mm-hmm. Kind of like the Kubrick video.
Another conversation another day.
Oh yeah, we could do that too.
What we should talk about is how I think the X-Files is setting up to be that, the discrediting of the future, conspiracy theories.
Well, you should give us some more information. Maybe we can make a show out of it for you.
I'll send you an email.
Awesome.
Okay, cool.
Well, Luciferius, we appreciate you coming on and sharing your knowledge of Bitcoin with us.
No worries.
And, you're welcome anytime to call back in.
I just got to remember when the show's on. Did I miss a big announcement?
Well, the big announcement was that we're going to be on terrestrial radio in Phoenix. We're going to be on KFNX 1100 in Phoenix, Arizona. So we're broadening the universe into terrestrial radio, and so that's our big announcement.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. We worked hard, and like I said, hopefully this is just another stepping stone to more stations and more
until he conquers the world,
apparently. The universe.
Right.
The universe is what I'm trying to conquer.
Working up to the Spaceboy 2016 World Tour.
All right, sir. So you have a great evening.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. It's great to have great space cadets out there.
If I'd have known, I could have tapped him for the interview.
Yeah, it would have been a lot easier than these meetup groups that didn't call us back.
Yeah.
Speaking of not calling back, okay, I won't go there. Careful, Icarus.
Yes, careful, Icarus.
All right, so, I guess, can it be regulated? I mean, Bitcoin,
It cannot be regulated right now. Wait, sorry, I lost my place in my notes.
I thought I threw you off with Icarus, didn't I?
Yeah. You threw me off. Yeah, so there's no one bank or government that can really... now, depending where you live and where you are, maybe somebody could put a tax on it or a fee. But that's about all they could do. let me just go into this. So I was looking at, I was like, well, what do banks think about Bitcoin? Well, there's been enough time go by that Bitcoin's been out there. They had one view of it, and now they're starting to change. So, J.P. Morgan's CEO Jamie Dimon dismissed Bitcoin as a terrible store of value. It could be replicated over and over. It doesn't have a standing of a government. And honestly, a lot of it, from what I've read, you guys, a lot of it is being used for illicit purposes. But then, you know what? I keep saying, so is cash. So even Alan Greenspan was baffled by this currency. Their biggest gripe is that no government can back it for you. Well, I think that's Bitcoin's greatest strength, is that you don't have some pesky government that is subject to inflation or recession screwing it up.
Come on, Surlana, let me be blunt here. It sounds like a Ponzi scheme to me. I mean, is it? I mean,
well, the U.S. dollar only has value because we as a nation of people have faith in it. Same thing with Bitcoin. That piece of paper in your wallet, those coins in your wallet, in your pocket, have no intrinsic value. It's just a means of payment. The material dollars are printed on are worthless, unlike a gold bar. So it seems Bitcoin can offer the same thing. It's decentralized. So, and they can keep a cap on it by the 21 million, and that keeps it from inflating the market. So in the beginning, banks are worried about this because nobody is governing it. Nobody can affect the price other than supply and demand. Mm-hmm. So the financial world is starting to come around to the idea of Bitcoin that's not just for the dark web. And although the Silk Road underground is gone, there's a lot of things that have sprung up in its place. So you know what? You can do that stuff on the surface web.
Just a quick, interesting little thing, let me toss it out here, is that at my quote-unquote day job, I was talking to an executive level person, and he knows about my talk show, and I told him that we were going to be covering Bitcoins, and the first thing out of his mouth was, well, isn't that used for the shady side of business, like drugs and stuff like that?
See, that's the reputation it has.
Yes. But in some of the research that we went over, we actually saw it being used for commerce. And
I'll list those in a minute. I'll list those. That's fine.
I don't mean to get ahead.
No, it's fine.
Go ahead.
This should be natural and organic, but I have my notes typed a certain way, and if you don't flow with them, I don't know what to do.
Sure, I'm pulling the rug. Go ahead.
Now, another guy who is the chief information officer for the Swiss bank UBS, Oliver Bussmann, he said that the blockchain technology, which I described to you, is what's going to change how we do payments, and in turn change the whole world trading and the settlement topic. That's why I asked our caller, did he think banks would adopt it? So if they did, it would enable a massive simplification of the process of banking and the whole cost structure. But again, I don't believe they'll pass those savings on to us. I don't think our mortgage company would pass that saving on to us, let's just say. So that's why I asked, is this their personal Napster Bitcoin? It's got game-changing technology and methodology. So one of the founders of Netscape, Mark Andreessen, he's a venture capitalist in companies like Facebook, Skype, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Airbnb, said, we have a chance to rebuild the system now. The financial transactions are just numbers. It's just information. So you shouldn't need 100,000 people and a prime Manhattan real estate and giant data centers full of mainframe computers from the 1970s to give you the ability to do an online payment. And I think that's very forward thinking of him. So it's the concept of blockchain that's the hot topic, not necessarily Bitcoin. It's how Bitcoins get processed and mined that is intriguing to some banks. So if they were to use the blockchain, they can increase their accuracy, reduce the time it takes to make transactions, trim the costs, have more secure systems, make quicker transactions across borders, with other countries. The security of investors' confidence would increase, and their financial products would get used more and whatnot. So, again, I don't see any downsides, but I guess we got to wait for the reputation to get built up.
All right, well, let's take another break, and when we come back, more SpaceboyUniverse.com. Don't go anywhere, everybody.
You're listening to Spaceboy Universe, your cosmic tour de force.
Techno, dance, atmospheric moves? Yes, my friends. My latest release, Digital, has something for everyone. Even makes a great gift for Grandma. Buy your digital download at spaceboymusic.com.
To call in, dial area code 713-701-5214. You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
All right. We're back.
Can I give a shout out to our homie,
You can
Dennis?
give shout outs to anybody, especially Dennis. He's definitely our homie. Is that it? That's all the shout out?
He's kicking it every Saturday for us.
I think what was funny before the show started was that I was trying to think of where Dennis lived, and I went through California, Colorado, and then finally...
I did get you do know it's another country that starts with a C.
I was like, yeah, Dennis, he's like from California. I mean, he's
from... one of those C countries, we don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, Dennis, you're doing a great job. Appreciate it. Keep up the good work, man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so where did we leave
Things
off?
are getting a little raunchy in the chat.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Ladies.
Yeah, so like I said, if the banks would adopt that blockchain technology or methodology, that would be great. But on the other hand, maybe it wouldn't be so good for us. I don't know. They would probably find a way to mess it up. But of course, Bitcoin is not legal in China. No surprise there.
Really? But I was watching...
Yes, but...
I'm sorry. I got all excited. What?
Yeah.
Because I thought that we were watching something that said that they were interested. I'm sorry. Please continue.
So China's central bank is working on releasing its own digital currency, but it won't be a cryptocurrency. But they're trying to help lower cost of production of their physical currency and reduce tax evasion and money laundering, which I couldn't believe that's a problem over there. So they're just, of course, you know what they're going to use this for. It'll be digital so the authorities can monitor and track everybody's funds, of course. So there's rumors that Citibank is working on its own digital currency.
Dun, dun, dun.
And using blockchain technology. And Barclays, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Commonwealth Bank of Australia, State Street, Credit Suisse, Royal Bank of Scotland, Banco Bilbao Vizcaya Argentinaria, and UBS announced the formation of Distributive Ledger Initiative.
Well, what's interesting, you bring all that up, is that they would be crazy not to get their act together, because I was watching a bit of research for this, and the guy said it's like Amazon to Barnes & Noble. If you don't adapt, you're going to become extinct. And
adapt or die.
Yes.
That's what got the dinosaurs in trouble.
And I'm not surprised. At some point they were saying that Bitcoin could become more of a background thing, and that we would use it every day and not even know it. And in our transactions,
there are Bitcoin ATMs.
Oh yeah, in fact, all over Europe and Australia. They even installed them in Greece after all that mess went down. So, the thing is that, I get the impression that, it's very up and down with Bitcoin. From what I saw, it started off at pennies, and it rose to highs of over $1,000,
like 0.5 cents, and now here it is under 400.
Yeah, it's under 400. So From some of the people I saw, they were like freaking out. Oh my God, I just lost all this money. But then there were the other guys, like the miners, that were like, "Hey, I'm in it for the long haul, man. It's there. I collect them."
They said they just call them straight up nerds.
Mm-hmm. And so you have those two divisions,
Well, what I like about it, let's say you can only afford to buy one Bitcoin now, which is just under, what, 400?
Yeah, 380.
You can still buy something with one Bitcoin that's $100 because it can be divided up into the fractional units.
Mm-hmm.
So you can still have some money left.
Right.
So that's interesting, I find. So where can you legitimately use Bitcoin?
Yeah, who's using it?
Microsoft Online. You can
really
payments in Bitcoin. Dell Computers. Overstock.com was the first online place to use Bitcoin payments.
Right.
Newegg, Tiger Direct, cheapair.com, and accepting Bitcoin gift cards, Walmart, Amazon, Target, and Nike.
Cool. So I guess it's getting more mainstream as time goes on.
That's what they're hoping, is if it gets more legitimacy, then maybe it'll get accepted in even more places. But for me, if Amazon accepts it, that's all I need.
Mm-hmm. I really like the fact that it's decentralized and it's not one a government overseeing all that, because quite frankly, in our day and age, can you really trust the government? I mean,
no.
They've been printing up money left and right, and we don't know how's that money backed. I mean, it's like taking a loan out on a credit card or your children's credit card kind of thing, and it's sad, so.
I mean, we could, as a nation, go out and decide that dryer lint is the new form of currency if we want to, and it's the same principles.
Could I mix a little belly lint in that one too, or? Well,
I just said that I don't know if you can counterfeit it. I mean.
Well, I wonder what the value of that one.
Well, anyway, so here's an interesting tidbit. Okay. In the first 2 months of 2015, $105.84 million had been invested in Bitcoin. As I said, Bitcoin eliminates the need for middlemen, which is banks, lawyers, etc. There's no physical forms of payment like credit cards, check, and cash unless you've got unless you put it on a card or you get Casasius coins. So Bitcoin money will be available to anyone with an internet connection. Now that is the revolutionary idea. You don't have to have a bank account with money in your account if you've got money to begin with to buy the Bitcoin. And you've got an internet connection, that opens up the field for more people to make transactions. So that's revolutionary. So now this is something I found that was kind of cool. So this is like in the beginning, the reputation. The nextweb.com said, JP Morgan put out a job offer. And so in the job description, they said they wanted somebody who had Bitcoin knowledge. Mm-hmm. So they're finally seeing that there is power in Bitcoin. They want somebody for some job they posted that knows something about it. So what I found is what I said before. The future of cryptocurrency or Bitcoin is not in Bitcoin itself, but it's in the mining process of the verifying transactions. That's what it is. So it's revolutionary. It's making Bitcoin useful, tamper-proof, transparent, and it will eliminate so many steps for checking and the complicated procedures of banking. That's the true future. Mm-hmm. And I've got to hand off my sports drink because somebody didn't prep properly.
Well, why don't we just tell the universe about it?
Well, they probably want to know what that movement sound is.
Okay.
Oh, man, you took a bunch of it.
Oh, come on. I'm thirsty. Anyway, please continue.
Greedy. Well, that's pretty much the end of my notes, but I do have a timeline if we need to fill out more time.
I mean, if you have a quick timeline to give us, but I mean, we can open up the phone lines.
You can go up phone lines, and I can fill it with.
Okay. Well, I will say this, that if we have any first-time callers tonight that haven't received any space swag, then we'll give them some a couple of the. Well, we have a couple of the spaceships left from the Star Trek thing that we can give out, and I know she's giving me the eyeball. Ladies and gentlemen, for those who are waiting on your Space Wag, it is in the process of being mailed to you.
We've had a lot going on.
A lot going on, you can imagine, especially with this announcement and getting all our ducks in a row. But Space Wag will be going out soon. But going back to the Space Wag, if you call in tonight and you're a first-time caller, we'll give you one of the line of the ships from the Star Trek.
We still have?
Yeah, we have a few of those to give away. I think we have 2 to give away. And it's a surprise, so you get what you get. And Dave, we haven't forgot about you. We got a Space Boy Universe shirt coming your way.
I don't think Dave's out there, but that's all right.
Oh, well, I'm sure Mr. Anderson can give him the message.
Yeah, Mr. Anderson is there.
Mr. Anderson. So anyway, the number is 713-701-5214. While Surlana winds up the end of the pitch here to give us a timeline, and we can definitely start taking calls. So take it away, Surlana.
Well, as I said before, all started in 2007 when somebody named Satoshi Nakamoto began working on Bitcoin, and then in 2008, 3 people filed for an encryption application patent. And they denied they were Nakamoto. But a few days later, after August 15th, 2008, Bitcoin.org was registered. So next month, same year, Nakamoto releases a white paper that describes the Bitcoin currency. And then in the following month, Bitcoin project hits SourceForge. Now, SourceForge.org or .com. I've gone to SourceForge off and on for a long time. It's just a place that is devoted to open source software development and distribution. So in January 2009, version 0.1 is released of the Bitcoin. And a few days later, the first Bitcoin transaction happens between Satoshi and Hal Finney. So later that same year, 2009, an exchange rate is established between Bitcoin and the US dollar. So in early 2010, a currency exchange website is born, the Bitcoin Market. The first real-world Bitcoin exchange happened in May 22nd, 2010 in Jacksonville, Florida, when a man pays for pizza with Bitcoin. I think that's a worthy first purchase myself.
Pizza. I wonder what kind it was.
I don't know. That sounds good right now.
It does.
And in July 2010, mention of Bitcoin on Slashdot's website brings a large number of people buying Bitcoin for the first time. So that got it some publicity. So in August 2010, Bitcoin is hacked. Now, this was the big scandal. So it proved it's as vulnerable as paper money, I guess, because, you can counterfeit paper money. So Bitcoin will be hacked. So its value just plummets in August 2010. So the vulnerability was in how the system verifies the value of the Bitcoin. So since then, they've improved it, and I think they've taken care of that. So October 28, 2010, the first ever short sale is facilitated by hashtag Bitcoin-OTC, and recorded short sale of Bitcoins are initiated in the form of a 100 Bitcoin loan from Nanotube to Kiba, whatever that means. This report is published the same month that says Bitcoin could be used to fund a terrorist group, and that's what everybody's upset about. But you know what? So can Cash. Cash has done a lot of evil too. So, November 2010, the market cap exceeds $1 million for U.S. dollars, calculated by multiplying the number of Bitcoins in circulation by the last trade on MT-GOX. The Bitcoin economy exceeds 1 million US, and the value is 0.50 Bitcoins. Okay, here's where it gets its bad reputation. January 2011, the Silk Road is created on the deep web. It's a marketplace for drugs, weapons, and whatnot, and it only takes Bitcoin. So I guess it really reaches its stride in the dark web. So February 2011, Bitcoin finally reaches the value of 1. So 1 Bitcoin equals $1. But by June of that year, it's $31 for 1 Bitcoin, and its cap is 206 million. In 2013, the first major theft happens. 25,000 in Bitcoin is stolen from a digital wallet, which is the equivalent of $375,000. So another security breach causes the values of Bitcoins to drop from 1751 to 0.01. So in March 2013, the U.S. Financial Crimes Enforcement Network issues some of the world's first Bitcoin regulation in the form of guidance report for persons administering, exchanging, or using virtual currency. This is marked as the beginning of an ongoing debate on how to regulate Bitcoin, which is not regulated. So the Bitcoin market capitalization reaches $1 billion in March 2013. In August 2013, Bloomberg begins testing Bitcoin data on its terminals. And although alternative tickers exist, the endorsement from Bloomberg gives Bitcoin more of an institutional legitimacy. So it's starting to gain some legitimacy outside of the dark web. So November 2013, the Bitcoin price begins to climb to 700. As in the U.S. Senate holds its first hearings on digital currency. The Federal Reserve Chairman at the time, Ben Bernanke, gives his blessing to Bitcoin. In his letter to the Senate, to Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee, Bernanke states that Bitcoin may hold long-term promise, particularly if the innovations promote a faster, more secure, and more efficient payment system, which it does. So, in December 2013, China's central bank bars financial institutions from handling Bitcoin transactions. This ban came about after the People's Bank of China said Bitcoin is not a currency with real meaning and does not have the same legal status as fiat currency. So the ban reflects the risk Bitcoin poses to China's capital controls and financial stability. So I think that means they aren't able to control it. They can't track it. They can't do everything they want to do with it. So they're just saying, oh, this is not legitimate. So to date, China remains the world's biggest Bitcoin trader, with 80% of global Bitcoin transactions being processed in China. So in January 2014, Overstock.com becomes the first major online retailer to take Bitcoin. So they're what is now a growing list of large businesses accepting Bitcoin legitimately. February 2014 classifies Bitcoin assets or private money, learning that no VAT, or that's tax, will be charged on the mining or exchange of Bitcoin. So this is the important, as it's the first world's most progressive treatment of Bitcoin. This is the UK, by the way. So the UK government has the most forward-thinking, comprehensive approach to regard to Bitcoin. So in 2014 of June, the U.S. government auctions off more than 29,000 Bitcoins seized from the Silk Road, the illegal online marketplace in the dark web. The use of Bitcoin blockchain means that the identity of the users can often be established, so this is no longer a currency for criminals. In 2014 July, various financial institutions authorized around the world make rules and policies about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin transactions have to comply with money laundering rules and counter-terrorist laws. Also, Gabi, the Global Advisors Bitcoin Investment Fund, launches the first world's regulated Bitcoin investment fund. So this is important to the Bitcoin ecosystem because it launches investment vehicle, adds further legitimacy to the Bitcoins. So now you've got investors that can invest in Bitcoin without worrying about it being so sketchy. So in August 2014, the UK Treasury addresses Bitcoin and welcomes input. So they're starting to get the idea that, okay, maybe this is a legitimate thing and we should be talking about it and figuring out what we should do. In October 2014, Terra Exchange announced the first Bitcoin derivative transaction to be executed on a regulated exchange, meaning the initial trade was completed between digital BTC and the world's first Bitcoin-focused company to commence trading on a major stock exchange. This even gives them Bitcoin even more credibility because it's now being traded on a stock exchange. December 2014, Microsoft begins accepting Bitcoin payments. And in January 2015, the New York Stock Exchange becomes an investor in Coinbase's $75 million funding round. The New York Stock Exchange aims to tap into this new asset class by bringing transparency, security, and confidence to Bitcoin. So I think Bitcoin is about 7 years old now, and it's had its ups and downs like regular currency, but it's been a part of the rise and fall of an illegal black market, market crashes, heists, hacks, pyramid schemes, and multi-million-dollar investors, just like regular currency.
I was just getting ready to say, just like regular good old money.
Sorry. I don't know what I just pulled out there.
That's 2 points off of you for hitting that microphone.
I didn't hit it. I actually hit this right here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that was a lot of exciting stuff there, Surlana.
So if I could afford to buy a Bitcoin, I think I would.
So you wouldn't mind if, let's say, would you buy one if you had the money to buy it like right now for around $380?
I don't know. If I had $380, I would probably pay some things off, down. Let's say I got all my credit cards paid off, I go buy Bitcoin.
I mean, the chances are that it can skyrocket again. I mean, just waiting for that right moment to go back up.
Is this the highest it's ever been, or has it been higher?
It's definitely been, like I said, I think it hit over 1,000 at one point for one Bitcoin. And so, but at the same time, when we were watching one of the series of videos that we watched, I saw it drop all the way back down to the $17, I think it was, for a Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. So
it's just supply and demand. If there's a big demand for it, then the price of it goes up.
I imagine it's almost like stocks, a day trader kind of situation. You buy low and sell high. Mm. And so when that when the Bitcoin's low, it sounds like a good opportunity to buy into it. And I mean, it's still not a bad deal at 380. You could see it, rise above that.
Our friend Luciferius said on November 17, 2013, it was, wow, that's a big number. 1,216 and 73 cents on the exchange.
Yeah, so $1,200. I mean, around $1,200.
The total stock reached $1 billion. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's amazing.
So the possibility of, making some money off of it between mining or even buying in at Bitcoin at a lower rate and see it fluctuate, it's just a matter of, holding on to the brass ring, so to speak, because, the volatility, here it goes again, the volatile nature. Thank you. The volatile nature.
Let's just talk about that.
Just that word's got me in a tizzy. The nature of the beast is that if you can hold on while it fluctuates up and down, that's the way to do it.
See, I'm not a risk taker. I won't even buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah, I know. I gave you money the other day, and
I went in and I said to the guy exactly what you told me. He handed me the wrong thing. I didn't understand what was going on. I said, well, never mind, and I walked out. So there. Don't send me in to buy your lottery card. So
I probably won't anymore.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That way I don't get implicated.
I'll go in and buy your IC, and I'll take care of the lotto ticket.
Oh, I'll get the IC, then I'll leave it on the counter. You pay for it, and I'll run off, and you bring it out to me.
I guess that's a deal if you say so. So, I guess so. You would definitely buy Bitcoin. You would definitely do it.
Yeah, I'd like to try to make a legit transaction just to see what it's like.
I'm with you on that because
maybe if they go back down at some point.
I think that just to try it out. I mean, it seems like it would be interesting to even just own a little Bitcoin currency, just for that simple fact. Like I said, we live in a world that's topsy-turvy, and you don't know what's going to be left or right, and maybe having a little dough in the old Bitcoin can maybe save your bacon.
You could buy bacon with it, I bet.
Bacon. But yeah, that sounds like a wonderful possibility of doing transactions that way, because we're pretty much hardcore when it comes to shopping online.
It just seems like it's no more risky than having cash to me.
Exactly, and I think with all the things that go on the internet, I think we're pretty comfortable with doing a lot of things online as far as banking, as far as making our transactions with Amazon, to say the few things that we do. And
see, I feel more secure using PayPal if you can get a site that will take PayPal.
Now, that I have to agree with you. PayPal has been wonderful in the sense that it creates a middleman so people are not directly dipping out of your cards directly online or your cash directly. I don't use my bank card directly for transactions, but I do have the PayPal account set up so that even though I have my bank card information in there, I still don't use it. I use my credit cards because at least I know my cards are backed up, and so there's that extra protection of a transaction going south if it actually does. What say you on that?
What's it, listen?
Oh, story of my life.
I'm sorry, I was paying attention to chat.
Oh my goodness! We do have a broadcast we're trying to do here.
I'm sorry. Somebody was talking about donuts, and I was really interested. And
let me tell you about donuts. We were doing our grocery shopping today, going on other shopping, and I just saw that they were selling Dunkin' Donuts coffee. I personally don't drink coffee.
I don't either.
I've never been a coffee drinker, but it did sound actually pretty good because I guess the donuts part of the thing, and I guess Surlana was
You thought you'd be drinking donuts?
No, well, it's just the donut part, it's kind of like Pavlov's dog. You hear the bell ring, dog hears bell ring, and dog salivates because he thinks it's time for dinner. Well, I hear the word donuts, and I go, donuts. And so I think it's time for a donut. And so that's how I look at that.
Well, what cheesed me off about that is I typed in the search field T-E-A, and all it gave me was coffee. I'm like, in what universe does T equal coffee?
Maybe it was subliminal. It was trying to lead you down a track to
It's like,
to
no,
donuts.
you couldn't possibly want to drink tea. You must mean coffee. I didn't appreciate that.
But anyway, so yeah, donuts. Okay. So I was talking about the use of PayPal,
right?
And as a mediary, and I wanted to get your take on that and your thoughts as far as
how many steps can remove me from my information so it can't be stolen. I'm all in favor of, or hacked. Let's put it that way. I'm in favor of that. That's kind of why I like that extra layer of go-between.
Yes, K28. Homer's currency is bit donuts. So,
sorry. I know I gotta focus.
Focus. Back to the living?
Yes.
Okay. So, with all this Bitcoin talk that we've done tonight, what are your final thoughts? I know you say you would buy a Bitcoin, but I mean,
just for the novelty of it, maybe buy something on Amazon or wherever, and just say, "Hey, I did it."
Do you think it's the currency of the future?
Something's got to give. I don't know if it's the currency of the future. I don't know if we're even going to have to worry about currency. I think everything else will collapse around it.
And then we'll be chased by zombies?
If the only thing we had to worry about was zombies, we're getting off light. But that's not going to be the case. But I won't get into that.
I know. You just love zombies, don't you?
I don't. You do.
Hey, we're not talking about me right now.
I find them to be boring and predictable, as I've said many times.
So, the future of Bitcoin, uncertain if it's the future. And
like I said, if there's any future in it, it's in the technology of processing the transactions. It's not necessarily in the coin itself. Thoughts? Are you rebooting over there?
No, I'm not. What, did my eyes glaze over with the Windows thing? Speaking of that.
I thought the low lighting made you sleepy or something.
No, I'm just thinking about how I had to restart Windows today. And
oh my gosh, there was so much cursing going on earlier. I just kept my head down and stayed out of it.
I was not a happy camper because, I have... Some of my machines have Windows 7, and the other machine had Windows 10. and the one in question was Windows 10, and I about had a coronary because the fact that this machine was prompting me for a password, and the password that I had set up for it wasn't working. So it did some spiffy update that just ticked the crap out of me, and it just led me down to Funky Town, and that's all I've got to say about that. So, with that said, let's take our final break of the evening, and when we come back, you can call in if you like, which is 713-701-5214. Surlana and I will go off on a tangent, like we always do, and talk about something groovy and fascinating. So stay right there. You're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
You're listening to Spaceboy Universe, your cosmic tour de force.
Techno, dance, atmospheric moods? Yes, my friends. My latest release, Digital, has something for everyone. Even makes a great gift for Grandma. Buy your digital download at spaceboymusic.com.
To call in, dial area code 713-701-5214. You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
Yes, Bev, you probably would have turned red with the profanity that I was saying with my Windows 10 computer. You know, I do like Windows 10. I'm kind of annoyed with it doing this thing with the password thing, because I think, okay, it's less than an hour till the show starts. I just need to reboot the machine, take some updates, and when I brought up the screen to log back in and it wasn't taking my password, I had to do a password reset.
Why do you have a password on that computer? Who's going to come in here?
I had Windows 7, when I set it up, had a basic password. It asked me if I wanted to upgrade this computer, so I upgraded the computer, thinking, okay, I'll break down and do it. I didn't want Windows 8. I don't like Windows 8.
I've gotten used to 8.
And so I've been dipping my finger into 10 at work, and so I thought, and then plus when I did one of the Spaceboy Universe computers here that we use for the music and all that good stuff and taking calls, I did an update to one of those, and then I later wiped it and had to reload it. But anyway, long story short, I upgraded to 10 on here. I didn't have a problem. It runs good. I like what it does. But for some reason, once I did the update and then restarted the machine, it went all bonkers on me and decided to use my Outlook account, or my whatever I can't even think of it right now. It gets me flustered just thinking about it.
Live or whatever.
Yeah, and so I had to reset the password. Now the upside is that apparently I had set all this stuff up, and it sent me a text message to the phone, so I was able to redo the password, and it even knew a password that I'd used before. So, it frustrated me. And then trying to get ready for the show, it's always frantic. It seems like every time we, start up a new show, and you've seen. You're right there watching.
Yeah, I was here for the whole thing. I was like, I'm not going to say a word.
You get the free show of me trying to get this all started, and
I'm just glad we didn't have any bizarre tech issues like we had the last couple times.
No, I'm glad too, because we did a pre-test before the show started, just to test some levels, and it seems to be working out all right.
Do we want to talk about stuff that's coming up?
Yeah, let's talk about some stuff that's coming up. Where do you want to begin?
Like next show's topics?
Well, next show is going to be topic roulette. And I know why. I say potato, she says potato. Go on, say it.
Potato?
No, I was talking about roulette.
Well, I'm from Louisiana. It's roulette.
Okay,
it's French.
okay,
it's a French word.
Let's move beyond it.
No,
so
we're going to debate this till we die.
We might have a guest next week, and I'm kind of holding off until I get a confirmation on that. Some of y'all in the chat area do know this person, or you've heard of him before, and I don't want to give too much away at this point until we confirm. But as it stands, it is topic roulette, and we'll go on that. But now, the next following week after that, we are doing a show called Precognition Dreams, correct?
Well, dream cognition, yes.
Dream, yeah.
I can't tell you anything about it because I haven't researched it yet because I wait till...
But the exciting thing is we have a guest for that.
Yes.
Yes, actually a physical human being is going to be talking with us about his dreams.
And that will be February 6th, and the significant thing about February 6th is...
what is the February 6th?
No, February 6th is next weekend.
Yeah, next weekend.
That's topic roulette.
Yeah, roulette. So, yeah, the following week after that, that'll be week 2 into our KFNX new hosting duties there.
Mm-hmm.
That will be a part of that. Then we're going to probably do something Star Trek related on the 20th.
Because it's the 50th
we're
anniversary year.
50th anniversary year. I think that at some point, maybe on the 27th, we have video games lined up. Maybe we can replay the Data Bytes episode with K28.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'd like that, where he's talking about some of the games he worked on with Sega, and quite interesting stuff. If you haven't heard it, it's definitely there on the Spaceboy Universe Spreaker site. And then, of course, we do talk about many things here. History being one of them. I think we're going to have an Amelia Earhart episode.
That came about because I'm like, we've talked about 2 or 3 male historical figures. I'm like, let's talk about some gals,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm into the chicks, man. So my chick wants to talk about Amelia Earhart. Well, I guess we'll talk about it. And she's like looking at me like she's getting ready to pull out a dagger. So anyway, moving on from there, JFK. We're going to have our favorite call-in guest host, and that would be Gordon Roop. He will be back with us.
There.
Oh, okay. So, what, did somebody call in? Did you say?
I don't know, but I don't know why you're not watching that.
Well, I'm looking at the board behind you. If you call in, call back in. I don't know if... let's see here.
I just saw something flicker over there. And then...
Have you called in from the area code 567? That's an interesting phone number. Yeah, give us a call back. We're now looking at the board here as far as calls. Going down the list again, JFK with Gordon Roop. That'll be our
because I think he's writing something.
Yeah, March 12th. If you'll tilt your head the other way so I could see. No, the other way. Free energy. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be circling back last year, before the year ended up, we were going to talk about Bigfoot, but we're going to not only lump Bigfoot into the Abominable Snowman.
Basically, I think it's who would win in a fight.
Yes, Abominable Snowman versus Bigfoot. It'll be the fight of the century. You should tune into that episode. And some other good stuff. I think we're going to at some point cover Jack the Ripper.
Don't give away all our good stuff.
Oh, well, okay. Should I not mention David Bowie?
You can.
Yeah, we're going to do Behind the Music with David Bowie. Talk about David Bowie, the man, the history. Give a little bit of insight behind him and celebrate his life as the popular stylish musician that he was, that lived and will live on in the stars. So, there's a caller. Why don't we answer it?
Please, thank you.
Caller, you're on the air. Thanks for rescuing us. Who is this?
Tell me.
It sounds like Bev.
You're right.
Hey, you got it right that time.
Thank God I got it right. How are you, Bev?
Oh, doing real good. How are you guys?
Oh, we're doing fabulous. How did you like the show tonight so far?
Oh, yeah, very interesting. I never heard of a Bitcoin till tonight.
Wow.
Well, there's a first for everything, huh?
Yes. And congratulations, you guys.
Oh, well, thank you. We appreciate it. we've been working really hard, and this week alone has been quite the challenge as far as getting all that set up. But I think it's going to be great for the universe, and then plus for listeners like yourself that tune in on Saturday on night. Yeah,
it's a big bonus for Phoenix as well.
Yes, a big bonus for Phoenix.
Yes, it is. I wanted to tell you, Space Boy, my ears would have not turned red today because you know what?
Oh.
Bob goes off on tyrants too. And the language that comes out of his mouth, I just do like Fran does. I just leave him alone and walk away.
The thing is that...
I mean, not Fran, Surlana. See, you got me doing it. You're rubbing off on me.
Fran is just popular.
Yeah,
That's all
Fran
I'm
is
saying.
popular, but I was going to say, Surlana will tell you, most of the time, I'm not one who uses a lot of profanity, and then every once in a blue moon, when I do, it's like... He's
actually true. I am the one that swears like a sailor on Sunday, and just, I'm pretty bad about that.
And her problem is that you don't get her... Don't go around her when she's doing coding for HTML, or we're doing website design.
Playing with SharePoint.
SharePoint.
Oh, my gosh.
That's when she goes off of the deep end. Me, I'm pretty cool as a cucumber. You know, I've not been one to get that level of profanity, but it's like when I do, it's like I've probably lost my mind. You know.
Bob says I should jump on the extension. Laugh out loud. You should, right?
Yeah.
We just got our home phone today, so...
Yeah, you sound crisp and clean.
Well, see, our problem with our cell phones is we have a metal roof.
Yeah.
And you have to stand either by a window or a door to get reception.
No.
Well, Surlana says she gets great reception from me, but probably because of the metal plate in my head.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, Bob says you don't want to be around me when I'm working on cars. No, you don't. Oh, my word. He throws tools.
Oh.
Bam, there goes the tool. I'm like, okay, I'm out of here.
Yeah, like I said,
well,
I normally don't go off the deep end in that direction, but when I do, it's like it's almost like there was. I know you probably haven't seen this. There was an episode of SpongeBob, and
I don't watch SpongeBob.
Well, do you remember that, Surlana? When
where they had
infamous
the swear words where they bleeped him in interesting different ways every time he said a naughty word. That was a great episode.
Kid show, but it was entertaining from an adult point. But yeah, we appreciate you calling in, my dear.
Hey, and I found Bob's wallet.
Okay, and do you want to explain where Bob's wallet was?
Well, it was on a place where he had already looked, but he just overlooked it. I pulled out the cigarette machine, and it was right on top.
Okay.
But
he does that to me
for about 2 weeks, and we haven't had, thank goodness. Well, we had a little slide back, but we haven't had any cigarettes except for a little setback for 2 weeks.
Well, that's good. You know the best way to get to no cigarettes is one step at a time. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. You know, we all have our vices, but you know, if you honestly want to make the attempt to rid yourself of those vices, you know, it's just take those baby steps, and eventually you'll free yourself from that monkey.
Well, see, and I already have COPD plus a mild case of emphysema.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad had emphysema real bad, and for his last about 10 years of his life, he lived on oxygen.
Right.
And I was so afraid. I was on my way to that. And so I just made up my mind, you know, this is enough. I wake up in the mornings coughing and gagging, and I've been smoking for over 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, got to stop. You know, I'm tired of waking up gagging and coughing each morning, and you know, it's like I'm done.
Well, Fran,
I don't want to.
I believe.
I don't want to end up like my dad.
I believe that you can do anything that you set your mind to, and like I said, you just need to take the first step. And you know, you're not asking you. It's kind of like Surlana and I go to the gym, and you know, we're not marathon runners by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah,
but
we got to get better.
But we're making the step in the right direction, and that's all you can do. If you feel like you need this step in your life to make that direction, then you know, just take that first step. Don't worry that it's 2 weeks. Hey, you made it 2 weeks. Now let's see how far you can get it the next time. And as you get longer down that trail to your goal on top of the mountain, you'll look back upon it and you'll be so much happier and healthier in that sense, and you know, go from there. And Surlana's not laughing at you, by the way.
No, Fran says, SB, quit calling Bev Fran.
Did I call her Fran?
Yes, you did.
Oh,
you
my.
did
See what you did, Bev? You.
You know, I didn't even notice.
You know.
Maybe I'm just so used to you calling me Fran. Oh, my goodness. We're rubbing off on each other, Space Boy.
I know. Well, Bev, we love you here at Spaceboy Universe. And,
well, we love you, too.
And, you know, you keep listening, and, you know, we're going to grow this audience. But when it comes down to...
foster the new people that come in is what you can do.
Yeah, foster the new kids that come into this thing. And,
if they do.
And, you know, like as always, call anytime.
Well, no problem. I do. I like calling you just to give you crap because it's fun.
Well,
somebody should.
Somebody would agree with you there. I wonder who.
Well, I give Bob crap every day, so I'm an expert at it.
All right, Bev.
She gives
crap.
Oh,
my goodness.
You have a wonderful evening, and make sure to give Bob a big hug for us.
Or crap.
Okay, I sure will.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye. Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, looks like we got another caller, maybe?
What's with you and Fran and Bev?
I don't know. Caller, you're on the air.
Yes. This is Patrick Sporer. How are you doing?
Hello,
hey,
Patrick. We were kind of talking about you a little bit earlier and about the upcoming show.
Yeah, well, I actually tuned in and I heard that, and I just thought I would follow up with, yes, it's the Dream Cognition Experiment.
Yes.
And it's forecasting the future via dreams, signs, symbols, and synchronicity.
While you're on, do you want to go ahead and give a link to your site?
Yeah, you can Google the Dream Cognition Experiment, or you can go to patrickscott.blogspot.com. And it would be great if people went there prior to the show in 2 weeks. I believe it was February 13th.
Yes.
We were scheduled for.
Yeah, February 13th. That's when you're going to be on.
Saturday.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that. And, the more people that go to the site to see it prior to that show would be excellent, because we're going to be talking about a number of those. I believe that you and I spoke about the David Bowie dream.
Yes.
Prior to his passing, and then there's been some other celebrities here that I've had recent dreams about that have also made the news and passed on.
Well, I'm really excited to get you on, and I don't want to give anything away, but yeah, definitely, if you're listening, Space Cadets, it's a must go and read before the show airs, and you've got a couple of weeks to do your homework, Space Cadets. So be there or be square. Yeah, and we do a little bit too, but yes. So, but how are you tonight?
I'm doing good. I was listening to your show on Bitcoin. I it was very informative. I don't know a lot about that. I think that was a great subject to cover.
I had no clue. I mean, I knew what it was, but I didn't know in the ins and outs or how it all worked. And just finding out how how transactions are processed and how that could revolutionize traditional banking was really cool and eye-opening to me.
Yeah, it's a fascinating subject. I've never heard anybody cover that before. It would be great to do a follow-up show and help educate people about that, because that may be the way things are going.
Mm-hmm. Well, the nice thing about the Spaceboy Universe show is the on-demand factor. So, I mean, we're all, like I said, we're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, we're on SoundCloud. So, if you want to listen to the show again or, recommend it, hey, heard the show on Bitcoin, on Spaceboy Universe, and you can catch it here.
And starting next weekend will be archived on KFNX's site, too.
Yeah, our big news tonight was that we're going to be on terrestrial radio, KFNX, out of Phoenix, Arizona. So you're going to be a part of that lineup on the 13th. How's that sound?
Oh, that sounds fantastic. I tell you guys, you really have a nice format. I really enjoy listening to the way you guys banter back and forth about the subjects. It's refreshing. And also, I wanted to bring
marital angst.
Yeah, I wanted to. You mentioned 380 a couple of times in your conversation, didn't you?
Yeah, 380 for the. I guess that was the current price I was looking at for Bitcoin.
One Bitcoin to buy it. It's $380 some odd dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a great example of another way that I use information to forecast lotto numbers. And the interesting thing is that when you said 380, I perked up and made a note of it because 380 has been repeating all around me for like the last 3 or 4 days.
Wow.
Well, it started, and let me tell you how it started. Do we have a few minutes to talk about it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. It started watching Jimmy Kimmel the other night. And this is one example of many that hopefully we'll have the time to discuss in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. The interesting thing about it is that I was watching Jimmy Kimmel, I think it was 2 nights ago, and Ewan McGregor was on promoting the new movie Jane's Got a Gun.
Mm-hmm.
And when he had him on, he was showing his first car that he ever owned when he was 16 years old, which was a Volkswagen Beetle. But he specifically wanted to show the license plate because he was hoping to retrieve this same car that had disappeared long ago. And on the front of that license plate was 380. And I said, wow. It jumped out to me. It hit me in the solar plexus area, sort of resonated there.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote that one down, and then suddenly I'm watching another show the next day, and suddenly there's 380 again. And then tonight you mention it again. So this is this is connected to the Florida Lotto because I live in Florida.
Right.
So when I look at this, and I don't guarantee, this is an experiment that I do, and I leave it open for what anybody wants to their feedback on it or their twist or ideas on it. So it's very possible that those 3 digits or some combination of those 3 digits will hit as a cash 3 Florida Lotto jackpot. And usually I put like a time frame of 30 days on it. But most of the time, these things will hit quickly, like within a couple of days. Mm-hmm. But that's one method. And then, of course, the dreams are another method. So I just thought it was interesting that here I am just happening to tune in tonight. And within this short time frame, you don't say, you're not saying some other combination of those numbers. You're saying the exact same combination that has been repeating or recurring.
Truly fascinating.
Yeah, well, that works on one level on the lotto, but then there's these other things that occur when something repeats that suddenly will show up in the news, and it's like there's a high frequency of these things that will start repeating prior to some major news event. Not some run-of-the-mill news event, but something that's major in our, that is, it could be a global thing, such as a major earthquake or a terrorist attack or something of that nature. But there'll be certain things that will repeat. And again, we can cover that in 2 weeks more thoroughly.
Yeah, we don't want to give all of it away.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool.
The other thing I wanted to bring up, a couple of weeks ago I was listening to your show. Last week I tuned in. I couldn't get any audio on the show for some reason. You were talking about Thomas Edison, weren't you?
Yes. Yeah, we did. We have a guest. I think there was a few technical difficulties. But I don't know. We haven't really checked the archive on that to see.
No, I haven't.
On the different things. So that would be something we would have to look. Follow up on.
We did Thomas Edison because we did Tesla, and we thought, well, maybe Tesla needs a little bit of rebuttal, and we would say, well, is Edison a total? Was he a total bad guy, or So my conclusion was yes, he was.
Yeah. You think Tesla was a bad guy?
No, Edison. Edison.
Yeah, Edison.
Oh, Edison. Yeah.
Tesla was the dreamer who wanted to do things kind of for the good of humankind, whereas Edison was the capitalist that really was out there to make a buck.
I think if we made a comparison to Edison to I guess it was Apple founder Steve Jobs. And so,
taking credit for
other people's work.
His other, people. If it happened under his research and development team, he invented it, even if he wasn't even there that day, So
sort of like Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Facebook, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. The show before that, though, you were talking about science fiction movies.
Yeah, that was, I guess, much earlier. Yes,
that was way earlier. That was in our pilot days.
Yeah, pilot days, as we call
our
them.
favorite alien space-based movies, and we're probably going to revisit some sci-fi movie again.
Yeah, she's
been.
Go ahead.
I watched one last night that you guys might remember that wasn't in your top 10, and it was called Starman.
Yes, I do like that movie. I'm surprised.
But it was based mostly on Earth.
Yeah, I think we were doing more space-based.
That's like set in space. Because there's so many, we had to refine the category.
Because don't get me wrong, Patrick. She'll tell you, I love
a good movie.
I love a good space movie, and that movie. In fact, my aunt loves that movie. She just goes crazy over that movie.
What's the one where the guy plays the video game and they take him up to space?
Oh, you're thinking of The Last Starfighter.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that is a good classic, well-written story, and yeah,
that is a good movie. It's sad but good.
Yeah, that was. I watched it again last night. I remember when I saw it long ago, and I just happened to catch it last night, and I thought, wow, why I can't figure out why they never did a sequel to it. Maybe because it was a standalone movie. Possibly.
Yeah, I like. My favorite part of that scene is when he sees the deer on the car and brings the deer back to life, and then he gives the hunter the feeling of what the deer was feeling.
Right.
And
no, that was in Powder.
No. In Starman, they're at that truck stop.
Yeah.
But no, I know that Powder did something similar to that. But yeah, you're definitely gonna have to rewatch it. There's that scene.
No. I saw Starman where he brought the deer back to life and it ran off into the woods and all. But I don't recall him giving the pain to the.
Then he must have. He did something to the trucker, or he said like to the deer, like. I'm going to have to watch it again now.
He brought the deer back to life, didn't he?
He did definitely.
Well, he brought the deer back to life, and then the hunter was angry, and it was actually a comical scene because the hunter ran up to him, asked him what he did with the deer, and he said, "Oh, it went into the woods." And the hunter turned around and punched him in the face, punched Jeff Bridges in the face, and said, "Bingo."
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And then Jeff Bridges pops back up and pops him in the face and says, "Bingo." He mimics, he was mimicking everybody as he was learning the human way.
Right.
But it was a delightful film because of the chemistry between Jeff Bridges and Karen Allen.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It was an excellent movie. Early '80s. I remember it very, very detailed back.
We could do our favorite. We could do a thing on our favorite sci-fi '80s based movies. There's endless topics we could do.
I'm sure there was a lot of and I watched Alien and Aliens the other night, and they didn't really if it wasn't for Stan Winston and some of the cinematographers back then, they didn't use a lot of green screen
no, it's practical effects.
Yes, practical effects goes a long way.
Which made the first Star Wars so good.
Yes. Did you, just as a side note, see the new Star Wars that came out?
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
I haven't seen it yet. I want to. I saw the Guardians of the Galaxy, and I've talked to some people that actually told me they thought Guardians of the Galaxy was better than the new Star Wars.
It's actually pretty decent. The Galaxy.
I really enjoyed Guardians. Yeah,
Guardians.
And I didn't know anything about the Marvel comic book backstories or anything, but you can still enjoy it without that.
Oh yeah, I thought it was exceptional. I couldn't believe how good Guardians of the Galaxy was, and I was unaware. I was a comic book collector for a long time, but I never got into the Guardians of the Galaxy Marvel comics. Mm-hmm. So, and they're making a sequel to that. But I haven't seen any Star Wars yet, but I definitely want to see it. I've heard mixed things on people that I know that are diehard Star Wars fans. Some people really liked it, and other people said they thought it was similar to the first one, but they didn't like the special effects or something to it. So
Like I said, there was similar moments to the other Star Wars movies, but and I gave it an A-, only because there was a few scenes that looked very reminiscent of how Star Trek was put together. But once I could get beyond that, past that, the storyline, it was nice to revisit people that you haven't seen in such a long time, and it felt good. So you will enjoy it. If you enjoyed the original Star Wars or Star Trek things, then you'll be good. So, but I guess we got to let you go on that note. So,
okay, all right, guys. I just appreciate it so much, and we'll have a great conversation.
Look forward to it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Have a good evening.
All right.
All right. That was Patrick, and he's going to be on soon.
Can't wait.
Surlana, guess what time it is?
It's 11 o'clock.
Yes, and that means we are out of here. So thank you for everybody for showing up for the show. And remember, next week we'll be on KFNX.
Yeah.
Let them know you love Spaceboy Universe.
Spaceboy Universe is hosted by Spaceboy and Surlana. Executive producer is Surlana. Producer credit goes out to Dennis Koch. Find Spaceboy at spaceboymusic.com and spaceboyuniverse.com. This has been a Spaceboy Universe production. You have reached your final destination. Good night, Space Cadets.